Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Super 7 special brought to you by BamaPreps, making this thing sound like an advertisement. I'm your host, Vlad, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mason Colmer, as we are going to talk everything about the Super 7 state championships taking place December 6th through the 8th. And, man, do we have some good ones, Mason.
Yeah, we do. Are we paying to, run our own pod now? If we're sponsoring our own pod?
I got a sponsor. Yeah.
We're sponsoring our pod now?
You
I'm feeling super, man. I'm ready.
Super 7.
Oh, what? And I'm feeling super, man.
Listen, so we're going to break every single game down for you. Every single team. There's only 14 of them. We don't got a workload like we have earlier.
Yeah, I got some games of the week this week. Some big ones.
Oh, yeah, no, games of the week, yeah.
7 of them. Big 7 of them.
7 games, that's a lot of games of the week. Anyways, we're going to be breaking down where I was at for our on location last week for BamaPreps, and that was in Clay, Alabama for the Clay Chalkville Cougars as they took on the Parker Thundering Herd. Great year for Parker, but eventually it came to an end. It was 21-13 at the half, and Jalen Mbakwe, starting quarterback extraordinaire for the Cougars, went down. Not to worry, backup quarterback Aaron Fry came in, ran for an 80, 70-yard touchdown, and the Cougars blank Parker in the second half and end up winning 38-13. But we're not going to be at 6A just yet. We've got to talk about this incredible 7A matchup. And Mason, why don't you preview this thing for us?
Look, we got Central Phoenix 12-0. They will be representing the away team this year. All South teams are going to be the away team in Bryant-Denny Stadium this week. They're taking on the 11-0 Thompson. 11-1 Thompson Warriors. My apologies. And this is the fourth meeting since 2018 in the Super 7. Thompson leads 2-1. The only time the Phoenix beat them was the first meeting in the state championship
2018.
game. 52-7, I believe, was that score.
Yep.
Definitely thought that Thompson wasn't going to be where they are today after that one. But hey, all right. So I just want to highlight a few wins from both of the teams. Central beat a great Auburn team, not once, but twice.
Yep.
Dominated them both times. They dominated a great Hewitt-Trussville team early in the season, but that wasn't the same Hewitt-Trussville team we saw later in the season.
Affair, yeah.
And then they had a big semifinal win over undefeated Mary Montgomery headed into it. Now, this Central offense, it's as high-powered as they get with recent Auburn commit Cam Coleman leading the way.
Get that in there,
War Eagle, baby.
You had to get that in there.
They are averaging 44.6 points per game. High-scoring offense. Yeah. That's going to be a common theme around here. Their defense, though, don't get it twisted. Defense wins championships, and their defense is only giving up 12 points a game. But these Warriors, man, they've turned it around since that loss to Clay, 33-36, a little mid-season non-region action, ESPN.
Yep.
Some would say Clay was a little more up for it than the Warriors, but hey. But Thompson, there's a common opponent, the Hewitt-Trussville Huskies.
Yep.
Thompson, first meeting, beat them 40-14. Semifinal game, emotions a little higher, but they ended up pretty manhandling the Huskies in the second half, shutting down Peyton Floyd 21-10. I mean, up 10-0, you would thought it would be a different outcome.
And it was really a similar score to what Central Phoenix had in MGM, winning 21-7. You know, that game was 14-0 for a long time. MGM's defense did a heck of a job slowing down Cam Coleman, Andrew Alford, and this Central Phoenix offense. Can Thompson do the same, though?
Now, the big difference to me, there is a touchdown difference between Central's offensive average points per game and Thompson's. Thompson's only scoring 38 a game, but their defense playing lights out all season, only giving up 10 points. They have two common opponents, as we mentioned, Hewitt-Trussville. Thompson beat them twice, Central won earlier in the season. Also, Opelika.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Thompson dominated Opelika earlier in the season. Central a little closer with Opelika, but that's a big rivalry game. It's kind of like Thompson-Hoover. You know both teams are going to be up for it. But, man, after all that, I guess we got to give the people what they want.
Yeah, we will be giving our predictions. Finally, we've held off on this game for about 2 weeks now. We've known what it was going to be, and it's finally here. Let me say my piece a little bit about this matchup and sort of where I'm at and what I'm feeling about this game. Historic Central Phoenix City team, as you've highlighted. The points per game, the touchdowns, the athletes, the playmakers. They have absolutely rolled through everybody. But that MGM game maybe dampens my confidence a little bit. And I guess you could say the same for the Thompson game. We got to see both Thompson and Phoenix City get slowed down a little bit in the semifinal games, both scoring 21 apiece. And coming into this matchup, I think that you have to look at it this way. I don't think that Central Phoenix City has seen a team like Thompson. And I don't think that, and I do think that Thompson has seen an offense like Phoenix City, granted in different ways, but equally as prolific as what we saw Jalen Mbakwe do to this Thompson defense back in week 5 or 6 or whatever that game was, mid-season game. We saw one player beat this Thompson team, and Mbakwe is one hell of a player. But on the other hand, we have not seen Phoenix City lose, but their closest games have been, still over 10 points. We have not really seen this Phoenix City team get tested for 4 quarters, and I think that Thompson can easily do that just because of what they have. And all season long, I think, I've certainly drawn the ire of the Central Phoenix fan base for sticking with Thompson as my selections, but that just is my opinion, and my opinion is that Region 3 is the hardest region in the state of Alabama. Region 2 isn't. Thompson, week in, week out, has got to play a Hewitt, got to play a Hoover, Spain Park.
The
These tough
SEC
teams.
West. It's the SEC West of Alabama high school football.
And for me to say my piece is for me to say that I think that Thompson wins this game. So Thompson's going to be my pick. And that is, it could go to Central. Obviously, Central is a good team that can win this game, and I've said this all season. This is probably Thompson's toughest matchup in a state final game since 2020 when they narrowly beat Auburn in that classic.
No one ever thought that game was going to be close, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is.
So maybe I'm rambling a little bit here, but I just don't see Central. What am I trying to say here? I'm not trying to throw too much shade at Central, but at the same time, I'm just trying to say how good and how much the strength of schedule has affected Thompson.
So you're going with Thompson?
I'll go with Thompson, yep.
It
took a while to get there.
It did. I'm going to keep it short and simple. First round of playoffs, we released some predictions.
Yep.
We both picked Thompson.
We both did.
I've watched these playoffs go by. And I can't pick against the Warriors, man. It's like betting against Alabama. I say it every week. And I've got to pick Thompson.
Wow.
Until someone beats them by Central, please take this rat poison. Please take it. Prove us wrong. Love to see it. But I can't pick against the Warriors right now. Until they lose a state championship game, I'm not picking against them.
Yeah, no, it's a complete fair point. And you were leaning Central there for a little while when we were talking during the week, but ultimately the Warriors are the pick for me and Mason. And let me just say this: there's a lot of media people around the state that are picking Central. This is not a representation or a full representation of what the state is picking. There's a lot of media members in the state who think that Central is going to win this game, and for very, very valid reasons. I mean, we know the talent that both of these teams have on them, and I guess for that reason, I completely understand why Central can be picked, but we're not doing it. Now, we will jump over to 6A, where we had some more recent matchups. On the one side, we had Saraland, who dispatched Pike Road 46-7, and they're going to be meeting up with our on-location team for last week, which is going to be the Clay Chalkville Cougars, who beat Parker, like as I mentioned, 38-13. And this is what we wanted. We've said it all playoffs. Obviously, Clay was a little iffy there for a week or two in the playoffs, but this is the matchup going into it where we said, hey, if these two teams get together, this has a chance to be one of our better 6A state title games for a long time, and we have it. Saraland, Clay, break this game down for me.
Look, both teams undefeated headed into this. Saraland's best wins. Look, it was hard to pick some good wins for Saraland because they were all pretty much so dominant. I know people always try to bring this up as a negative note towards Saraland, but the close win over Lipscomb Academy, you got to give them credit. Yeah. Week 1 game against one of the, at that time, best teams in the country that we thought. Yeah. But we all know what's happened to Lipscomb now. And then a great win in round 2 over Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. Great way to finish against the team. Their first time really being tested since that week 1 game against Lipscomb. Yep. And then, I was trying to pick 3, so I decided to go with a massive rivalry win, dominating Spanish Fort, 49-7. Now, this is the part where I think Saraland stands out the most. This offense, averaging 51.6 points per game.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, but most points out of everyone.
Half 100 week in, week out.
And it's proven. They do it every week, it seems. But don't think this offense is like USC, where they're just trying to outscore you. This defense is playing some great ball, too, only giving up 13.5 points per game. But, man, some would say Clay's a little bit more battle-tested with wins on the road against Thompson 36-33, wins over Parker and Mountain Brook.
Yep.
I mean, great wins.
And Muscle Shoals.
And Muscle Shoals. And they pulled it out against Oxford, who was a really tough team this year in 6A. Kind of shocked us.
Yeah.
And then, but Clay's offense, not as high-powered as Thompson, but we know they can score on you and score on you quick.
Yeah.
They're only averaging 40. But Clay's defense, man, they have shown up all season, only giving up 10 a game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a game. I mean, it's a dream match. It's what everyone thought at the beginning of the season. The matchup we thought we were going to get last year.
Just like 7A.
I mean,
like 7A. This is what we thought the game was going to be. And it's here. I truly think at least for 6A, and honestly for 5A and maybe a few classes down, we have the best teams in this game. There's been no upsets. This has been the top two teams coming into the playoffs, and it has been the top two teams throughout the playoffs. I think that Saraland's toughest game for them was Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, 10-point win there. And I think Clay Chalkville's toughest game for them was Mountain Brook. The Parker game, Parker just could not get it going offensively all game. And that is a big credit to Clay Chalkville's defense. But we got to remember, one of Parker's touchdowns was a
Naheem Alford pick.
Naheem Alford pick 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
And their other touchdown was a short field run.
But then they had the ball like in Clay Chalkville territory a lot in the second half. They just couldn't convert on fourth down.
Nope. And that was with a backup quarterback for Chalkville, Aaron Fry, who I mentioned earlier. And tell you what, man, Fry, he looked pretty impressive out there. He was able to command the offense while Mbakwe was out. Transfer from Springville. He's a sophomore. Really good player. Somebody to look at in the future. Sort of reminds me of what Zach Sims was for Thompson a few years ago when he came into the state title game when Connor Harrell got hurt. And he's just one of those guys who you will have to see how he develops. But let's jump back into this 6A matchup. And, man, is it tough to pick against the Saraland Spartans. Yes, Clay's taking care of business. Yes, they're undefeated. But you got to remember who's on the other side of that ball, and it is an offensive juggernaut. But let me steel man a case here for Clay Chalk real quick. I'll do it for both sides. This Saraland offense is not as invincible as people think they are. And, we put it out earlier that this could be the greatest offense of all time, and I still think that there's a chance for that. But we've got to see KJ Lacey in this high-pressure situation. I don't think that Lacey has seen a pass rush like what Clay Chalkville is going to bring, and I don't know if he's seen a defensive back unit since week 1 against Lipscomb Academy with all the dudes and all the stars that they had. This is a deep defensive back room for Clay Chalkville. They've got a great linebacker, D'Angelo Barber, who's going to man the middle of the field, and he's going to do it well. And they can put Mbakwe in there if they need to. And how about Mbakwe Williams as a receiver DB matchup? That would be something else if they end up doing that. We saw Mbakwe at the end of the Thompson game come in and cover a few receivers, and they were trying to shut that one down. So, he can play both ways if he needs to. And the only thing that I'd say worries me about Saraland is just that this is a different Clay Chalkville defense that they're going to see. And I think that this is a unit that can cause havoc in the backfield. And if they can cover Ryan Williams, which is a very, very tough task, I do think that they have a chance of pulling this game out. Let me make my argument for Saraland now. This Clay offense at times has not looked the best. And we have seen Mbakwe get into some situations to where when he has to throw the ball and the offense is sort of sputtering when the running game has gotten shut down a little bit, we've seen them struggle. And we saw it against Mountain Brook. And we saw it, honestly, a little bit against Thompson, too, until they were eventually able to get going. Some region games, like the one against Oxford, there's been times when this offense has struggled, and I think that they've shown a lot more nicks in the armor than what Saraland has shown. So for me to say that is, if Saraland's defense and Antonio Coleman and Jamison Curtis, and if all those guys can do what they got to do, I think that this could be a rout for Saraland. And that's just obviously the argument for them. I'll let you pick first. Who do you got in this one?
I've seen the Spartans play in person a lot this year.
You have, yeah. You've been to some of their games.
The offense is impressive to watch. Against Hillcrest, it was 31-21. Hillcrest scored late. But Saraland overall, besides a few pop plays, they were able to shut down Hillcrest. And that's a hard offense to shut down because they throw everything at you.
Right.
Clay Chalkville to me this year, we've talked about it before. Before the Muscle Shoals game, my general opinion was they play down to competition. They keep everyone in the game. When they're playing in Mountain Brook, when they're playing in Oxford, when they're playing in Hueytown, they keep them in the game. But after that Muscle Shoals game, it kind of hit me. This team has a shot.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we're talking about a 13-0 team who beat Thompson, being an underdog in a state championship.
Really?
But this is one of the best teams I've ever seen play in the Saraland Spartans. I picked them to win it all to start off with, and I just don't see them losing. I see the repeat happening, and I see Coach Kelly building a successful program down there in Saraland.
Yeah, and that is entirely possible. This game sort of reminds me of a game 2 years ago, which you actually mentioned to me before the pod, which was the Clay Chalkville Hueytown game. That game was a shootout. Both teams got into the 40 points, I believe, scoring-wise. Eventually, Clay ended up winning that game.
Was it? It came down to an onside kick, I believe.
It might have been. But Chalkville had basically what Saraland had, and Hueytown had Earl Woods. So I think that has kind of flipped to Clay having Mbakwe, and, you know, there's good players around him, but Mbakwe is the guy in that offense. And then you look at what Clay had that year, which was Mbakwe. And
Craver.
Cleve Johnson was the quarterback, and that really compares nicely to what Saraland has right now. So I think that this game is going to be a shootout. I think that the defenses are there, but, man, when you got special players on both sides, it is really hard to stop them. I think this game is going to be a high-scoring affair, and I think that Clay Chalkville is going to shock a lot of people, the amount of points that they put up, and with just how efficient their offense is. With that being said, though, it's tough to outscore the Spartans, and I don't think it's happening. I'm going to go with Saraland as well, as much as it hurts me, because Clay, like you said, is a 13-0 team that beat Thompson, which is crazy impressive. You ready to jump to 5A? That was a lot.
Yeah, that was.
Let's do it. All right, so for our 5A state title matchup, which is going to be Thursday, December 7th at 7 p.m., I should mention the 7A state title game is going to be on Wednesday at 7 p.m., and the 6A state title game is going to be on Friday at 7 p.m. This is the third 7 p.m. game, which is going to be on the Thursday, between Gulf Shores and Ramsey. We spoke about it all postseason about how Gulf Shores has been a team on a mission, and they have proved it. They absolutely destroyed Eufaula 45-0. But on the other side, Ramsey, who had maybe a little bit of a tougher matchup against Gunnersville, and they did what they had to do, winning 35-14, which sets up, again, probably the two best teams in their respective classification, which is Ramsey and Gulf Shores. Break this one down for us.
Ramsey and Gulf Shores, two great teams on both sides of the ball. Gulf Shores this year has had some really impressive wins. They dominated reigning state runner-up Charles Henderson 41-0 in, I believe, round 2 of the playoffs. Yep. Had a great win over UMS Wright 17-0, and some big wins over Faith Academy 31-16. Just some great teams. 5A Region 1 was a great region this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And Viger's 4A.
Vigers.
No, they're 5A.
They are 5A right
They
now.
did beat them.
Yeah, they dominated them, man. They sent Viger packing because Viger had those forfeits, so they weren't able to get in, and they got UMS in.
Old Terry.
Yeah. Oh, I bet we're going to make some Dolphin fans a little mad with that one.
All right, what you got for us?
In Gulf Shores offense this year, averaging 39.6 per game. Not that high compared to some other offenses we'll see on this list, but that defense the Dolphins have, only giving up 8.9 points per game.
Yeah.
Really good. Legit. Well, let's not forget who's on the other side of the ball. You have the defending state champs.
Yeah.
They're looking to get.
Brought everybody back.
They brought everybody back, and they're looking for their third title in the last 10 years, and they have some great wins, and some would say they have amazing losses too to just prove they're battle tested. They have a big win over Hueytown to open up the season, 28-14, big double digit win over those Golden Gophers. Yeah. A dominant win over the Pleasant Grove Spartans, 49-17. And then the way they were able to respond to an adversity against Moody, an impressive win to be able to dominate Moody in that second half. And to mention those losses, they have a really close loss to Parker, 20-17. And let's not mention their star running back wasn't even in that game.
Yeah, I don't think Cam Keenan was either. I think he got their starting quarterback. I think he was injured as well. I think they were running number 5 Tramel Washington at quarterback in that game.
And then Auburn They played Auburn in a little mid-season action.
Yeah, really good 7-8.
7-8. That's a 5-8 to 7-8 jump. You don't
Yeah.
see that a lot in
Yeah.
playing out of region games. They lost that game 7-13.
I know.
What a
Yeah.
game. This Ramsey offense, 44.2 points per game, only giving up around 13 per a game.
Yep.
I mean, man, oh man, this game, holy cow.
Yeah, no, I do think we are getting the two best teams in 5A. And my pre-playoff pick for this game was Gulf Shores. I thought it would be Gulf Shores and Ramsey. I thought this was how it would end up. And for some reason, I picked the Dolphins in that one. I'm not doing that again. This Ramsey Ram offense has been absolutely elite in the playoffs, and I think that they have played much better competition than Gulf Shores. And Gulf Shores has got a team. They've got really good players. Ronnie Royal, Colin Wilson, who just ran for 5 touchdowns. There's good players all around that Gulf Shores team, but you look who you got on the other side. And Cam Keenan, Cake Ashford, Tramel Washington, Ryan Reese, QB Reese. I mean, they are just absolutely loaded wherever you look, and that's why I'm picking the Rams in this one. I think that they go back-to-back in 5A.
Look, my 5A picks this year was, I think, Central Clay County
over God, it was, wasn't it?
Pleasant Grove. That didn't really pan out for me too well. I feel like Desmond Howard out here.
Jeez, man.
But look, Gulf Shores this year, I just don't think they've been battle tested just yet. Ramsey has, and I think the Ramsey Rams are gonna shock the Dolphins. I think they're gonna get up early and never look back. I think the Rams are gonna run away with this one. It could be Charles Henderson last year wasn't too battle tested headed into this game.
And they competed with Rams.
They did for a little bit, and then the Rams pulled away late. The Rams, man, they're just explosive. They score quick. I gotta go with the Rams to become back-to-back state champs.
Yeah, and this is, out of the 3 top-class matchups, I think this one will be the closest.
Yeah.
Because just how even-keeled both of these teams are. And if BamaPreps will load, I will get us our 4A matchup.
Well, I got it for you.
Which is going to be Mobile Christian. That's 3. I'm sorry. Montgomery Catholic, who had a really big win over BT Washington, who was really a good surging team in these playoffs, and they're going to be taking on Cherokee County, who had a 50-6 victory over Westminster Christian in Brandon Mush's last football game in high school football. So we have Catholic, which is my 5A pick, and Cherokee County, who we kind of expected to get back here just after the season they had. They are defending runners up in 4A. What you got for us?
Look, this Montgomery Catholic, I feel like we talk about it all year. It's defense, man.
Yeah, it has been.
Look, they have some great wins. They beat BT Washington twice. They beat them 56-6 in the regular season, 28-0 in the postseason. They beat Andalusia, avenging last year's semifinal loss, I believe, for Montgomery Catholic last year.
Yeah, it was. That was
27-14.
Yeah.
And then they have a big win. You don't hear about this often. A 4A team beating a 6A team.
Yeah.
McGill Tulin. They went down to Mobile, beat them 21-0. Montgomery Catholic's defense, allowing 5 points a game. Absurd. But don't let that fool you. That offense is scoring 40 points a game. Still scoring 40 points a game. Cherokee County had a big win over West Morgan, I believe, in the quarterfinals, 28-27. A massive, dominant win over Westminster. Something we didn't think was going to happen at all. And then they have a big win in the regular season over Aniana. Their only loss of the season comes to a very close rivalry loss to 6A Fort Payne, 14-21. Yep. This offense is explosive, 43 points a game. And
they run that damn ball. Jacob Cornejo, man. They run that ball.
And this defense, they're pretty good themselves, only allowing 11 points a game. Man, it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, and I said this coming into the playoffs. This is a Montgomery Catholic team that we always talk about their offense. You know, we talk about Jeremiah Cobb a year ago, Caleb McCreary, who's been here seems like forever now. And we talked about their offense and just how they put up points. But like you mentioned, all season long, including these playoffs, the story has been the defense and just how much they've improved, the leaps and bounds that they've taken. And for that reason, Catholic was my pick to win 4A, and I'm going to completely stick with that. They've had a nice run to the state title game. I don't think that they expected BT Washington, but they got them, and they dispatched them just like they did in the regular season. They beat them, what, you said 50-0?
56-6 in the regular season.
Yeah, you just 50-point victory. And I can see Cherokee County getting a few touchdowns with Cornejo, but it sort of reminds me of last year's 3A game, which was St. James versus Piedmont. That was sort of Piedmont and Jack Hayes' last hurrah, and I think that's what this is for Cherokee County. Yes, they've been here before, but so has Montgomery Catholic.
I believe last time was 2020.
20 or 21.
Because I remember a post-game interview listening to the quarterback. He was saying freshman year he made it to state, and now they lost. But senior year he's coming in, and they're going back to state.
Yeah, no. This is McCreary's year, in my opinion. I think that this is Catholic's year. Have not won a state title yet. They have not done it. With all the talent that they have, with all the deep runs that they've had, they haven't been able to do it. If there's any year, it's going to be McCreary's last year. And there's no doubt in my mind that I think Catholic will win this game.
Look, defense wins championships. It's going to win it for the Knights. Catholic's going to beat Cherokee County. I just don't see any chance of... No offense, Cherokee County. I just think Montgomery Catholics, they're playing some great football. This defense, they got a little lackadaisical early on in the playoffs, but they've started shutting teams down. I see Montgomery Catholic pulling this one out.
We've been unanimous so far with all 4 picks to this point, through 7A and 4A. And that'll bring us to our 3A predictions now, and this is one of the best games of the week. We've got Mobile Christian coming out of the south and Madison Academy coming out of the north. And you want to talk about a team that just keeps finding a way? How about Madison Academy? Ken Cherry drives a dagger into the heart of Geraldine. You watched that game on NFHS. What did you see there from Madison in their fight at the end? And then we'll sort of get into our preview.
Look, Madison, they score a touchdown late in the game. I believe probably around 3 minutes left in the game. Instead of going for the field goal to tie it up against Geraldine, they went for 2. Ken Cherry could not get in the end zone, so they have to go on defense. And Ken Cherry didn't run it. It was 19 that ran it for him on the 2-point conversion.
Spell back, yep.
Yeah, and then Geraldine gets the ball back, and they are not able to move it. Geraldine, the thing they were doing, they were running 2 quarterbacks, so you knew when they were going to run and you knew when they were going to pass. Right. On 4th and 10, they just took a deep shot trying to draw a PI. They had a wide open guy across the middle of the field. They just were trying to draw a PI call. Nothing was thrown. Great stand by Madison Academy. And who would thought running the ball with a minute left in the game from 1st and goal on like the 8 is a game-winning decision, but it was. But no shy to Podiak. Great quarterback. Is it Kodiak or Podiak?
I think it's Jake Poldiak.
Podiak. Great job. He took over in that game to get them down to the field to put a position where Ken Cherry can take over. Him and number 10, Coach Hughes told us that number 10 was one of the best receivers he's seen, and he proved it, getting some big catches.
Jackson Reese, yep.
Big catches.
Say his name, Jackson Reese.
Jackson Reese. Late. Madison Academy pulls away, and they proved to me that they belong in the state championship game.
Yeah, they were my pick coming into this, and they have done what they had to do these past weeks, but we got to see who's on the other side of it. And it is a very, very good undefeated Mobile Christian football team who's got a really good freshman running back, or sophomore running back. And I collaborated with Wu Gang and with Unlock Your Game on one of the truck sticks that he had against St. James, and it was quite impressive. Check that out on Instagram or any of those guys'. And yeah, they had a dogfight. They had an absolute dogfight with St. James, who is your defending 3A state champions. Let's not forget just how good that St. James team was this year. And I want to give a quick shout out to Mason Porter, who was at the game. He's a follower of BamaPreps, and I think he updated me on just about every single play, every single touchdown. You can see it right here. I mean, everything. I really appreciate it, Mason. And not you, Mason. The other Mason. The better Mason. Arguably. I mean, this guy's updating me on everything, man.
Anyway, I froze my hands off trying to update Baker versus Mountainburg. I was barely able to type Josh Flowers touchdown. Luckily, he was doing it so much, I was able to just auto put it in there.
Warm. Yeah. Get your hands warm. But St. James comes all the way back down. They get a turnover on downs with about 38 seconds left. I only had 2 timeouts at that point. Mobile Christian wins 34-30 in a shootout. KJ Jackson in his final high school game loses to Mobile Christian. What a tough way, but what a season for this Mobile Christian Leopards football team.
Go
And
Leopards.
boy, are they going to give MA a shot. Do you have anything on Mobile Christian, or do you want to jump into predictions?
Look, Mobile Christian's defense is stout. They gave up 30 points to St. James. Most points they've given up all season by far. They have shut down some really great teams. I remember them playing Thomasville earlier in the year. Everyone was predicting them to lose to Thomasville.
Yeah, Thomasville, really good team down south this year.
But the Leopards shut them down. They're only giving up 8.9 points for a game. And this Madison Academy defense has been struggling here in the postseason. But their offense has been able to keep up with them. It's going to be a tough one. You want me to go ahead and predict it? Or you?
Go ahead and start for us.
Look, in this one, St. James was my pick to win it all in 3A. Unfortunately, they went out in the semifinals. But I believe last week I did choose the Leopards to beat St. James.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Ken Cherry, he's one of the best running backs I've ever seen. But I can't pick against these Leopards.
Wow.
I'm going Mobile Christian to win it. Finally get that state championship. Ronnie Cottrell, great job. You know, I saw somewhere he had to pull a little Hugh Freeze coaching from the press box due to eye surgery.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is when Hugh Freeze was in the stretcher.
You know,
no, he was in like the medical bed.
If the Syracuse coach points up at him, a little thumbs up. You think St. James coach did that after the game? A little thumbs up.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, St. James, Neil Posey, I believe that's his name. He's either the replacement or the guy who retired, but they had their head coach retire after he won the state title last year. And they made a in-house hire. I believe their offensive coordinator became their head coach. I'm forgetting the name. I shouldn't. But great season once again for St. James. And there's no doubt that they will probably be back in the playoffs next season and competing for another 3A state title. But that leaves me with my pick because I picked Madison Academy in this game. And man, I thought it would be St. James on the other side. But after seeing what Mobile Christian has done, just really, really makes me think they could win this game. They can win this state title. But I am picking against the Mustangs. I got Madison Academy winning this game in our first split decision of the evening.
Ooh.
of the pod session. Our first split decision.
Pod. I feel like we're going to get a little more split the more and more we go on here.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but man, what a great season for Madison Academy. They've been in so many close games, and I think that 3A North has been a lot more competitive than 3A South this season.
We
playoffs.
said there were going to be two dominant teams in 3A out of South, St. James and Mobile Christian, and they proved that.
Yep.
Stood strong. Madison Academy, you want to talk about going through a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Mars Hill, Sylvania, Geraldine.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Hughes told us they were going to go through a gauntlet. He told us our region was weak. I've seen people all over Twitter saying, oh, Madison Academy's not getting there. There's no way. And they keep finding a way.
Let all naysayers know, and that is what they have done this season.
Bro, I feel like yesterday when Alabama won, it was just Georgia. You know, Instagram notes feature is like the craziest thing ever. I felt like I just saw
I gotta
a link
add that
ever.
to my Instagram notes right now. You know, I never use that stuff. Oh, the first note I see is L Committee.
L Committee.
For the Bama decision, I guess. Anyways,
Roll
I'm
Tide.
picking MA. You're going to pick Mobile Christian. I guess we'll see. Let's jump to 2A, which is going to be the Reeltown Rebels against, them Fife Red Devils. Man, how many times have they been here?
A lot. Break
this game down for us.
Look, Reeltown coming off a massive win. I don't know. Did you get a chance to see how that game ended? You want to talk about luck on your side?
Field goal.
And it wasn't like he kicked it right down the middle.
That
He
thing
hit
was
the
a
upright.
freaking meatball.
And he hit the upright, and it hit the right spot and bounced right in.
Did it hit the upright?
It hit the upright and bounced in. They won the game
upright.
at BB Comer, 31-28,
In Silicaga.
ending a great season for BB Comer. They've had Reeltown's been tested in the playoffs with some great wins over Highland Home, Cottonwood. Reeltown, they're averaging around 42 a game, allowing 12 points, seeing a common theme with some great defenses. But Fife, man, looking for their 6th title in the last 10 years.
Man, ain't that impressive. That is a decade of dominance.
But some would say this team's been really tested. They went in against a great Locust Fort team. People were questioning, is this how Fife's going to go out? I think we had Locust Fort at number 1 at one point on the BP Power 8.
We had them on number 1 that week when they beat them.
And Fife beat them 63-34. 33.
That's a lot of points for a playoff game. Logan Anderson, 8 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah, and this
then
team...
they didn't beat the crap out of Pisgah. They beat them, though.
I would say, compared to the regular season, they beat the crap out of Pisgah. In the regular season, they beat Pisgah 56-42, a shootout.
Yeah.
Beat them 32-14 in the playoffs. And then also, they beat a great Sylvania team in the regular season, 21-10. Their only loss comes to
Week 1
Geraldine. Fife.
We saw how good Geraldine was.
Yeah. Fife scoring 46, but only allowing 11. Man, this is like, holy cow, what a game.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make this quick and simple. I've got 5. Real Town, man, another great run for them. But it's like whenever we get to this point, we got the great story coming out of the South, then we got Fife in the North. And do you want to pick against Fife? Because I don't. So I've got the Red Devils.
I've stuck to any pick I had at the beginning of the playoffs. I've stuck to them. Sticking with the Red Devils. They're winning. They're going to make it 7.
I think so, too. I think so as well. Yep, it's tough to pick against Fife, and I won't do it. Now, for our final prediction, we've got 1A. We've got the Leroy Bears, who just had a huge win over my 1A pick, which was Elba, the Elba Tigers, or the Wildcats, or one of the other generic names. And they are going to be playing Coosa Christian, who beat Pickens County, which was a surprise to a lot of people, but I keep saying it, we got to remember what this Coosa Christian team is, and they are not a 5-loss team, they're a 1-loss team.
Yeah, they're 9-5 on the year. 4 of those losses coming due to forfeit. This Coosa Christian offense, though, is as explosive all get out. And due to them, I think they were the 4 seed in the playoffs due to the forfeits. Either the 4 or 3 seeds. So they've had to play the best of them, and they have been taking them down in the playoffs. But let's not skip over this Leroy team. This Leroy team beat a great Elba team led by Alvin Henderson, one of the best running backs in the state, 27-24, and beat a great St. Luke's team, 42-10, and also had a big win over Clark County, 26-13. This offense not as explosive, only averaging 38 a game, but Coosa Christian's only averaging 38 too. Leroy's giving up 10 a game. And you mentioned Coosa Christian having 1 loss. Seems to be a common theme. Geraldine, 0-26, week 1. That's a big jump, 3A to 1A, especially with the talent Geraldine had. But Coosa Christian had a massive win over Hackleburg, 63-13. Big win over Pickens County, 21-12. And they had a dominant win against Lynn earlier in the playoffs, 28-6. Coosa, something. They have the best defense in the playoffs, according to AHSFHS. They're only allowing 5 points a game. I mean, defense wins championships. I get Leroy was my 1A pick. I'm going to go ahead and predict it here. They're reigning. Leroy's going back-to-back. I think they can beat this Coosa Christian team. So, I'm going with Leroy to pull it off.
Got some passion down for 1A.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't cover 1A enough, and that's obviously my fault. But yeah, no, between Leroy and Coosa Christian's had a great year. I do think the road ends here for them, though. I think that this Bears team, they did what they had to do last year against Pickens County, and I think they do it again. I've got Leroy in this one.
Wow. Gosh, it's come and gone so fast.
I know, man.
What week did we start this? Was it the week of Clay Thompson? Did we start this game? Was it that week?
Did we preview that game? It might have been. Yeah, we got on the pod game. God, I don't remember. It's
been a minute, but man, it's been a fun ride doing this every week.
About 10, 11 episodes. We'll still have episodes for you guys after. We're not just going to leave you in the dust.
Gosh, no. Why would
Our
we do
listeners.
that?
Appreciate it.
Our 5 listeners.
Appreciate it. Anyways, let's jump to me and your new favorite segment of the pod, which is going to be Ask BamaPreps. Now, we've got some good ones here. A lot of these are just kind of statements. Saraland by 50, which is...
Sorry, I had to slide that in there real quick.
We've got golf, not Gulf. Gulf Shores.
GOLF?
Gets washed, yeah.
Well, I hate to inform you, Gulf Shores is playing, not Golf Shores.
But we got a real question. Trey Lee asks, best game of the week.
Best game of the week? It's state championship week.
They're
all the best games of the week. But
okay, if I had to pick one, I think that Madison Academy, Mobile Christian's definitely up there. I think that Gulf Shores and Ramsey's also really, really good game. And obviously with 6A and 7A, you kind of know what you're getting. But for those games, those are obviously going to be the best of the week. But if you're looking for, an underrated game of the week, you go look at these some of these lower class games. I say that. So we have.
I want to answer the question.
All right, so we have Hendo Jr.4 here, who asks, what do you think about Reeltown's victory and their odds against Fife? I thought it was a really, really big win. BB are obviously runners-up in 2A last season, and I think a lot of people expected them to get back there, but the Rebels did what they had to do. They pulled out a victory with one of the kicks of all time. It definitely went through the uprights, we know that much. But let's think about their odds against Fife. And we both made it pretty clear that we're basically the Fife fan base.
Go Red Devils.
The way that we predicted Fife, and it might have been a little brash, but I do think that Reeltown, just as Comer was able to fight with Fife last season, I do think that Reeltown can fight for a few quarters. But just the overwhelmingness of Fife's offense and just how sound they are on defense, I think that it's going to be, if Reeltown wins the game, it would probably be the biggest upset in the state when it comes to these games.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a tough deal. We've got another question here, which is score prediction for Thompson versus Central.
Ooh.
Score prediction. Ooh, God.
Gosh, man, I'm giving...
This is a clippable moment.
Man, I think, gosh, we picked Thompson to win. Let me scroll up here. Gosh, Thompson's been playing on the low. Thompson's been some close games this year, for sure. Yeah. I'm feeling like maybe like a 28-24 type game.
Wow.
28-24. Thompson wins. I think that defense can shut down Cam Coleman, and then I think they have enough talent to where they can shut down Dalen Upshaw.
I've got Thompson, obviously, which was my pick. I've got them 36-27.
Man, you just got 30. That's a pretty good score. That's a pretty good one.
God, it feels so sacrilegious picking against Central, but if I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to stick with it. We've got another question here from erodin52 who says, Kusa, it's just a statement, not a question. He goes, Kusa over Leroy, even though y'all act like 1A doesn't exist. Yeah, my bad. My bad, yeah. I gotta. We're going to work on it. Don't worry. We'll get some off-season content out for you guys. Love the uniform combinations, by the way, by Kusa. They've got like 2 or 3 helmets. They've got a bunch of jerseys.
Former Homer Rush Probes, baby.
Yeah, but for like a week?
Yeah, did he?
A few weeks?
Was he there and then like Pell City was like, all right, come to us?
I think so. And I saw Probes actually. He came back. He came back for one of their playoff games and kind of talked to him.
Hey, he's
got some wisdom, man. He's seen a lot of high school football.
May not have good morals, but
let's not judge the man's character.
You can't. I guess the ways he's handled things and allegations against him, but you can't deny he wins.
And here we are having another Probes conversation. Anyways, I think honestly most of the allegations against him have been proven false. I think it's just sort of the narrative that's hovered around him wherever he's went, and I could completely understand it, but. What are you going to do now? He's coaching. He's a man. He's lived through it.
Hey, we're going to be talking about Pell City here in a few years being a great team.
I think we will too. All right, final score between Saraland and Clay. Solomon Arnold asks his questions. He says, final score between Saraland and Clay, and also asks, is Fife beatable? So we answered that. Anybody's beatable. Let's put it that way. Anybody could beat anybody.
Any given Friday.
Any given Friday or Wednesday
or Thursday.
Thursday, whatever. Maybe Friday. 2A, 2A will be on Friday.
2A's 3:30, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I would hate to get up for a state championship game at 11 in the morning. Like,
suck,
that mentality. I don't know how college players do it. Like,
oh, yeah, it was like that big noon kickoff, dude.
Yeah, like, how do you think they feel on the West Coast when they're having to play, like, those 8 a.m. games? Like, dang.
Oh, my God, they do, don't they?
Yeah, that's brutal, son.
TV money's a hell of a thing anyway. So.
Hey, yeah. No more Gary Danielson, baby.
Anyways, final score between Saraland and Clay.
Look,
we both picked Saraland. Okay, let's do this. If Saraland wins, they win 49-31. If Clay Chalkville wins, they win 30-27.
I think if Clay Chalkman wins, honestly, the Saraland offense has been shut down. I think that's the only way they win. I could see him having a Parker resemblance score, maybe 34-14, 34-20. If Saraland wins, we said it earlier, I think it's going to be like 48, maybe 40 type game, something like that, where Saraland just outscores them. But I don't know. These are two great defenses. We talk about the offense a lot, but these are two great defenses going against each other. And I just don't see one of those. It's just going to be crazy, man. It's kind of unpredictable. We could have a low-scoring affair, or we could have a high-scoring affair. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a tough one to pick. Give me your score.
Score said 48-40.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. We've got Jack the Keeper who asks, does the North or South have a better chance of winning the series? So the series, I assume he means the games. So the North and the South, there's 7 games, so it really is a 7-game series, if it goes to 7 or not. So let's think about this.
Well,
there's a good chance for either Thompson or Central to win. I think, okay, Fife out of the North, Leroy out of the South. So let's just go on our picks. So Thompson would win, which is 1 for the North.
Saraland would be 1 for the South.
And then we've got 1 for the North with Ramsey. 4A, we got 1 for the South. Man, this thing is going to go to 7.
We're
We're split.
Oh.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We've got Fife out of the North. And we've got Leroy out of the South.
So it's 3-3. We got a deciding game 7. You know what? We're gonna keep it at 3-3. We're gonna let 11 a.m. Thursday morning decide that best of 7.
We'll be there. Well, we'll see if I'm there. We're working on it.
Hey.
Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's the pod. Had a fun time recording. Just under 50 minutes for the runtime. Nice and listenable. You know, I'd hate to bear through a 2.5-hour podcast.
It's like our playoff special, man.
Yeah.
We learned the hard way about that one.
That was a gauntlet, dude.
That was brutal.
It
Gosh. We took like a 30-minute break. How bad that one got for
We're
us.
a microphone, Mason. We have so much power. We can say anything. Oh, my goodness.
Holy cow. So, we talked about
I really like Cheez-Its.
You know, we talked about it last week. I feel that's a really clip moment, but we talked about it last week. We talked about the college football playoffs, sir.
It's on my mind.
And as an Alabama football fan, how do you feel?
Lank. Alright. Roll Tide, baby. Yeah.
And
I'm not gonna homer out too much, but I'm excited. I think that we have a shot to win the whole thing. Honestly, I do. Who's we? Who's we? This guy's talking like he's on the team. Shut up.
Man thinks he's part of the team.
Bro thinks he's on the team. No.
I'm gonna just Photoshop a face of you on like a Bama kid. You know, like those little kid outfits. Photoshop your face on there. No. Look, the playoffs this year I think is the most parity. There were so many good teams this year, but anyone out there saying Florida State shouldn't have got in, you picked the 4 best teams at the moment. Florida State was not one of those.
If Jordan
4 best
Travis
teams.
didn't break his leg against UNA, they would be in. In
Yeah.
my opinion.
They would be the 3 seed, and it would have been a Bama, Texas, I guess, fight. But, you know, I'm glad to see Texas in.
Yeah.
I think it's good for
I
college
think
football.
Bama beats Michigan. Okay, shut up, Homer Vlad. But I think Bama beats Michigan, honestly and truly, and I think that Texas beats Washington, and we got a rematch.
In Houston, Texas, NRG Stadium.
Oh my God,
it's going to be so much
It's
burgundy
like
orange.
burnt orange, dude.
Burgundy orange. It's going to be all right for them Longhorns. Gosh, we can't let them win.
Never Matthew McConaughey again.
We can never let them win.
All right, now. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Horns down, baby. Go Huskies.
We'll see you guys in the next episode.
What's the best Cheez-It flavor,
Which is
Vlad?
going to be a recap. Okay. All right. No. We got to those. So, yes, classic. You know, it's got the crunch. It's a very good flavor. And, you know, I'll get them at school a lot. I'll get them at
That's the only option we got at school,
I know,
man.
it sucks.
We need
I
more.
like the puffs. The puffs are a little too liberal for me.
The puffs. I like the snaps, man.
Snaps
the
are good
sour
too.
cream and
Yeah,
cheese.
you're speaking
Those
my
hit.
language, brother. You're
Our
speaking my
quarterback,
language,
Tyler
man.
Nelson, Garndale legend, played it clear for me for a little bit. I'll never forget one day on game day, he brings in a whole bag.
Yeah, dude.
And he just snacks on them all day because we would have, during COVID, we would be there like really early for games, man.
Yeah, dude. I don't play about Cheez-Its now. Okay, Parmesan, good flavor. But here's what you do. You get the sharp cheddar
Ooh.
and you get the Parmesan. They got it in a duo bag.
Gosh.
They got it in a duo bag. Like
Deadly
like
combinations.
a clash of
Are we
the
saying like a
Titans.
Ryan Williams and
Like you
KJ Lacey type of Cheez-It bag here?
I'm talking like Pippen MJ
Oh.
Yes, dude. Like
Shaq, Kobe of Cheez-It duos.
dude, oh my god.
Some would say
It's like the red
LeBron and flopping duos of Cheez-Its.
Dude, it's like the red and the purple gummy bear duo.
What in the world is a purple gummy bear, Vlad?
I'm sorry, pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple Haribo, undefeated,
Dude,
man.
I might go get some after that.
Bro, those Pepper Jack though. Is it Pepper Jack? Is that what it's called?
For Cheez-Its?
Yeah, those are really good. But
Yeah, let me hit this pot.
you taste like one. But you gotta put original number one.
Yeah. Sharp cheddar, dude.
Sharp cheddar, look.
Sharp cheddar's really good.
Homer Vlad over here just ripping it.
I ain't
with
kicking
us.
against sharp cheddar, alright.
Gosh, what? You probably got connections to the Cheez-It family.
Dude, this is like exactly what our off-season content is gonna be like. It's just gonna be the most random stuff.
But man, and then number two, gotta be Pepper Jack. Number three, you know what?
I go sharp cheddar, original, Parmesan, pepper jack.
Can you throw? I'm throwing Cheez-It Snaps in there at 3. This
Okay, if
sour
we did
cream
it,
and
if
cheddar.
We did a Cheez-It playoff. Like a 4-team Cheez-It playoff.
Are we gonna? Like Good Mythical Morning on YouTube?
I don't.
They did like a ranking years back. They had like Kareem come on there, and they did like Munch Madness, and they ranked
Munch Madness.
They ranked like a bunch of snacks.
Dude, we gotta do that.
Munch Madness coming soon.
All right, thank you guys for listening.
We're gonna go play in Munch Madness.
We're gonna go get Munch Madness going. Anyways, thank you so much. We kind of rambled there. Enjoy it, didn't enjoy it, whatever. All right, now y'all have a